The American movie industry years ago introduced a subgenre, slasher films, under the horror genre that involved a killer or a group of killers engaged in a killing spree of a group of people, essentially with a blade or a sharp object. There are no monsters in this subgenre. It's mostly the killer on the mission to kill its victims. I Know What You Did Last Summer is one such slasher film released in 1997, and based on a 1973 book by Lois Duncan. Nicknamed the Fisherman, he is the one who's out on a killing spree. He's the lead antagonist in the movie, who's out to kill each one of them who has harmed him. Here is a detailed analysis of his character and backstory. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. How did the Fisherman become the Fisherman? Although released decades ago, and everyone knows this fact, I am always reluctant to share this spoiler. Ben Willis is the Fisherman. He is the recurring antagonist in the trilogy I Know What You Did Last Summer, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, and I'll Always Know What You Did. Ben Willis is a fisherman who's a widower and lives with his son. He also had a daughter named Susie, whose fiance was David Egan. As said by Estes, the butler and cleaner at the Bahamas resort that the four teenagers visited, the fisherman had a horrific history of crime. The first being that he had murdered and dismembered his wife in the hotel's honeymoon suite. The second is that once when his daughter Susie and David were driving to some place, they met with a fatal accident. In the accident, Susie died, but David survived. The fisherman, thinking David orchestrated the car accident to eliminate his daughter, kills him and dumps his body into the ocean. David's body, when found, was concluded by the cops as death by suicide. That same unfortunate summer night, when the fisherman was walking back after killing David, he was run over by a car. The car was carrying four teenagers, Julie James, Ray Bronson, Helen Shivers, and Brian Cox, returning home after celebrating their high school graduation and Helen's beauty pageant win. They accidentally run over the fisherman. Ray's girlfriend, Julie, was the only one who wanted to inform the police that it was an accident, but Brian admits to having spilled alcohol on Ray in the driver's seat, which would make them look guilty of the crime. Scared of their ignominious act, the teenagers, thinking the fisherman to be dead, dropped his lifeless body into the ocean in a bid to wipe off all evidence. But something peculiar happened. He wasn't dead and was just unconscious. When he got out of the ocean, he had resolved to avenge his near-death accident and kill all the four who had not only run him over, but had left him to die. How did the Fisherman cause terror in the I Know What You Did Last Summer franchise? The franchise's first installment is I Know What You Did Last Summer. The revelation of the fisherman's ability to plot revenge hit me in this movie when I learned about him being alive. What would happen now? How could he have survived being run over as well as being dumped into the ocean? His survival ran a chill down my spine, thinking about what he would do next. A year passed, and the four teenagers got busy with their lives, with the least anticipation of what was in store. Before going into the fisherman's first victim, let me speed up your memory to the moment when the four teenagers ran over the fisherman. At that moment, a witness, Julie's friend and admirer, Max Nurek, had passed that area. After a year, the fisherman sets out to put his plan into action, i.e., to stalk the teenagers and kill them. Julie returned home to spend time with her mother, still distraught with the accident that had happened last year. She was flummoxed to find a note that read, I Know What You Did Last Summer. Suspecting Max was playing pranks, she and her friends visit him, but he denies being part of any blackmail. Also, Max hated Ray for being Julie's boyfriend, and Barry, who acted like a bodyguard to the couple. They often fought. Max hated Barry since he was a rich boy and was the happiest of the night of the event to see Barry's car wrecked due to the accident. Ray and Max now work at the Southport docks as fellow fishermen. Their relationship was strained due to Julie, so it was natural that friends thought Max was trying to play them. Shortly after their confrontation, Max gets eliminated as a suspect since the fisherman kills him ruthlessly by stabbing him through his chin with a hook that comes out of his mouth as he coughs out blood and dies. The Southport Pier Shack's frying room was the place where the bloodied body of Max lay with a fishing hook, the same hook that Barry had used to threaten Max. The fisherman goes for Barry by running him over, but he survives and is admitted to a hospital. In the meantime, the friends learned about David Egan and his suicide from his sister Missy. She tells them that a man named Billy Blue, identified as Billy Blue, had visited her. When Barry gets discharged from the hospital, The fisherman visits Helen by hiding in her closet. As she's fast asleep, he chops her hair, makes her wear a beauty crown, and scribbles "soon" on her mirror. She wakes up in a cold sweat and panics. Elsewhere, Julie is horrified to find Max's body in her car trunk, wherein Max was wearing Barry's missing jacket, all set up by the fisherman to turn the four against one another. When Julie calls her friends to see the trunk of the car, the trunk was surprisingly empty, with no signs of anybody except a few wrenches. They don't believe her story. The fisherman's next target was Barry, but it seemed like he wanted to have some fun at Helen's expense. He reaches the Croaker Queen pageant, where Helen was participating. The fisherman kills Barry in the dress circle of the theater as Helen watches from the stage, screaming helplessly, thinking Helen was overacting. A police officer offers to escort her home, but the fisherman quietly lures him out of his duty, knowing she will be the next victim. A panicked Helen runs as the fisherman chases her. She reaches her sister Elsa's store, and before she can lock herself in, the fisherman breaks open the door and kills Elsa. Helen escapes, but the fisherman continues with the charade until he catches up with her, stuffs her into a pile of tires, and stabs her with the ice hook. A street parade passing by drowns Helen's screams as she breathes her last. Unaware of what's happened, a stressed Julie visits Ray at the docks and sees him aboard a boat named Billy Blue. She suspects Ray to be the fisherman and retreats in fear. Ray tries his best to explain to her that she has gotten it all wrong, until the real killer, Ben Willis, identifies himself and knocks Ray off. He goes after Julie, who jumps into a sailing boat. Ray recovers and sails in another boat to rescue Julie. As the chase continues, Julie discovers the ice room where her friends Barry and Helen's bodies were kept. She shrieks in horror. A fight ensues aboard the Billy Blue. The fisherman thrashes Ray, who's no match. He almost gets killed, but gets caught in the net. In a fight to the finish, Ray rescues Julie and fights Ben, whose hand gets caught in a rope held by Ray. Ben cuts his hand due to the pulley at the end of the rope, catapulting him into the ocean. Ray and Julie somehow make it back to the shore, where they meet the police, who confirm they have only found the hand of the fisherman. The fisherman's role in this installment was terrifying and left me sitting on the edge of my seat. One of the most memorable villains to have ever been presented in slasher films. In the second installment, titled I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, the fisherman made it back with one of his limbs missing. He knew his plan had to be better. Two of his targets were still alive. He had to get them. Otherwise, his mission was incomplete. The fisherman orchestrates a scheme and makes Julie's friend Carla a winner in the scheme. The prize of the scheme was a free trip to the Bahamas, and as expected, Carla invited Julie to join her on the journey. Excited, Julie invites Ray to join her and Carla's friend Tyrell on the trip, but Ray could not join them. This time, the fisherman's accomplice, his son Will, mingled into Julie's group and became their ally. When the fisherman arrived on the island, he first started to kill the hotel staff to eliminate the obvious obstacles on the island. After a long chase and panic-stricken moments, the fisherman managed to corner Julie in a cemetery on the island. As Julie retreated in fear, the fisherman ready to kill her. In a build-up to a tense situation, Ray makes it to the venue and fights the fisherman's son Will. As the fight for survival continued, Ray, in a combative move, stabbed the fisherman with a hook into his chest, which threw the fisherman into a fit of rage, who now charged at Ray. Julie, who was witnessing this fight, shoots at the fisherman right into his chest many times over, ensuring he dies and succeeding in killing him. Later one night, the fisherman reappeared and was seen dragging Julie mercilessly from her bed. Had he come back from the dead despite a gruesome killing, or was Julie having a nightmare? In the third installment, the finale of the trilogy titled I Always Know What You Did Last Summer, the fisherman returns, and yet again, he goes on a rampage. This time, the storyline was different. Released directly as a home video in the US, the movie follows four friends in the imaginary town of Broken Ridge, Colorado, whose prank goes wrong and results in their friend's death. These friends, namely Amber Williams, Zoe, PJ, Roger, and Amber's boyfriend, Colby Patterson, present a prank based on the legendary killer, the fisherman, at the local carnival where Roger played the fisherman. Right after, people witnessed PJ hoisted on a tractor smokestack. As per the plan, PJ was supposed to fall on the floor where a mattress would soften his fall, but that wasn't the case. Word got around that the fisherman was back. The public believes the fisherman was behind it, and the friends, thinking that PJ had died due to their prank, burn all evidence to show they were involved. When Amber returned to town a year later, she figured Colby didn't take up his scholarship to pursue further studies. While in town, she learns from a cop Deputy Hafner, that he had witnessed PJ's death last year. The meeting with Hafner coincided with a series of mobile texts to Amber that night that read, "I know what you did last summer." When she discusses the note with Zoe, Roger, and Colby, the boys angrily ward off the note, saying someone was playing a prank. But it wasn't a prank, since Amber gets attacked by the Fisherman's famous weapon, the ice hook, in a ski lift. The story progresses wherein a sense of panic and anxiety pervades the lives of all four friends, and one by one, they get killed, starting with Roger, who is found to have committed suicide with a hook. Was the Fisherman back? As Deputy Hafner studies the crime scene, a threatening note shows up at Zoe's, where the friends hole up in fear. The Fisherman was back. The Fisherman attacks Amber and PJ's cousin Lance at Zoe's concert. Zoe is pushed and falls to her death, while PJ's dad, the sheriff, is killed in the process. Colby meets his death in the kitchen with a hook stuck to his mouth in a murderous way. The Fisherman also kills Deputy Hafner with a forklift, who had rushed to the concert, since Roger had sent him an SOS before dying. Amber and Lance were now cornered. They fight it out and repeatedly run over the Fisherman with their car. Here, it's revealed that the attacker was the undead Ben Willis. Amber fights him, stabs him through his head, and kicks him into a thresher, killing Willis. But a year later, when Amber's car breaks down in the desert, she finds the Fisherman behind her. The screen blacks out. What was the Fisherman's signature style? In the first movie, right after he rises from the ocean, the Fisherman dons a raincoat with a hood that covers his face and carries the ice hook, his murder weapon. In the first installment, he seems like a middle-aged man with dark brown hair and eyes. He also had a stubble. In the second installment, his hair felt longer, and he was without an arm, which he had replaced with a hook hand. The Fisherman was presented as the undead in I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer. He appeared as a zombie, like a decomposed corpse. Was the Fisherman redeemable or a merciless killer? The Fisherman's personality was that of a righteous man who couldn't tolerate anyone betraying or cheating him, making him extremely vindictive to the point of obsession. The fact that he had brutally killed his wife for cheating on him is evidence of his mania. Although a vengeful murderer, he didn't desert his children and took them along with him. His love for his children is so strong that, as previously mentioned, he killed his daughter's fiance, David Egan, thinking he is responsible for his daughter Susie dying in a fatal car accident. When a man such as Ben Willis, who assumed the whole world was scheming against him and his children, is wronged, intentionally or otherwise, the consequences are bound to be fatal. All of Ben's victims were people who had accidentally wronged him and showed their immoral side to him, further driving him into a rage of revenge. Had the 4 teenagers reported to the police and turned themselves in, would the murders have happened? I wonder. But this theory is contradicted since Ben had even killed several innocent people, such as Helen's sister Elsa, Officer David, the hotel staff at the Bahamas resort, Deputy Hafner, and many more. Ben was a neurotic who was probably unhappy with life and was channeling his mad rage into killing people who he thought had deliberately wronged him. He was mocking them for being immoral, playing with their feelings by tormenting them and inducing the fear of death. At times, it felt like he was enjoying the process of killing, all under the garb of seeking revenge. The Fisherman's abilities seem at times superhuman, like when he sticks up Max with a hook, raises him, and dumps him into the fryers. That would need a fair amount of human strength. Also, his appearance at Helen's beauty pageant, where she witnesses him killing Barry, makes it seem he could easily get anywhere and everywhere. It displayed his tactful abilities. He could torture and torment even after his target was dead. This ability came into display when Max's body was found in Julie's car trunk, buried in live crabs. But the next instant, they were gone when Julie returned with her friends to show them the body, which felt like the Fisherman could do anything, even make things vanish in a jiffy. Marvelous verdict. The I Know What You Did Last Summer franchise set a trend of slasher films, leading to an edge-of-the-seat thriller narrative wherein the audience is left with numerous red herrings and suspects who were out on this killing spree. It was a great attempt to set the tone of a thrilling narrative. The villain in this story is both glorified for his backstory and condemned. I enjoyed the franchise, mostly because of its pervading theme of I know your secret. We all have secrets. And the movie tapped on this insecurity so well that it became a franchise. Concluding here, however, with no secrets kept from you. Until next time. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one, be safe, and thanks everyone.